The Rebbe is discussing with us the idea that there has to be a Savas B'chol Rega. It's critical. But it also has to be that we shouldn't see the Keich Eliki in the creation. It has to be that we shouldn't see the Keich Apel Benefit. So he's now going to explain to us, how could it be that Hashem is right here? He's creating us every single second, and we don't see him. In the mashal of the sun and the sun's rays, the reason the sun's rays exist is because the sun isn't here. But if the Eibishter is here, how could the world be? And the answer is that the Eibishter has a power to conceal himself just like he has the power to reveal himself. And you should know that the divine power of concealment is as much an expression of the infinite God as divine power revealed. Look at Rebbe Vehine. Just like the midah of chesed, which is the basis for the proactivity of creating the world. Is a praise that's attributable only to Hashem himself. It's not within the possibility of shum niv of any creation. Livrei, to create yesh me'ayin, something from a non-thing. And to give it life. V'gam midazu. Not only is the Eibishter beyond seichel, but this midah of chesed, with which the Eibishter creates the world, we couldn't intuitively relate to it, and we certainly couldn't thoroughly comprehend it. It's not within the realm of the possibility of any creation, lahaskil, to understand it intuitively. Haskil is word for chokhmah. Ulahasik, and to intellectually reach, which is a word for bina. Midazu, this measure, v'yacholta, and its possibility, livrei yesh me'ayin alachesed, to create something from a non-thing and to give it life. Ki habriya, because the whole phenomena of creation, yesh me'ayin, from a state of non-existence to a state of existence, hu davar shalamayla miseichel hanivroim, it's completely beyond the intuitive intellectual strength of creations. It's part of the midah, the measure, the tool, so to speak, of the Eibishter's gedula, Eibishter's greatness. So first of all, we can't understand the idea of yesh me'ayin, and we can't understand the Eibishter. Second of all, we can't even understand the specific tool that the Eibishter employs in creating yesh me'ayin, chesed. Kadosh Baruch Hu umideisav achtos poshet. The Eibishter and his midas are an achtos, is absolutely plain. So there's two diyukim here. We can't understand the Eibishter, and we can't even understand the midah, because the midah is one with Alakus. It says in Zehar, the Iva Gamei Echad, Hashem is one with his midas, or his spheres. Just like it's impossible for any human being's mind to intellectually reach an understanding of the Eibishter, he can't intellectually reach his midas. Now I want to tell you the diuk here. Kabbalah introduces us to spheres. Without Kabbalah, you don't have spheres. The distinction between yes spheres and no spheres is that if you don't hold the spheres, any tool the Eibishter is going to employ is going to be separate from him. The chiddush of spheres is that the so-called tools of creation are one with the Eibishter. It is called Iva Gamechad. Hashem is one with his spheres, one with his lights. Therefore, we can't understand the Eibishter. We can't even understand Midas HaChesed. Because spheres are Alakus. And for example, Malachim are Nivroim. So the achdus between the Eibishter and a Nivra and a Malach is not perfect. Either the Malach exists or it doesn't exist. If it exists, it's separate. If it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. When the Eibishter uses a Malach to achieve a certain end, that's not an achdus. That's Pashat. That's an achdus that's complicated. It's mevatel the Malach to its ratzon. But a sphere is an achdus. Mamish. Says the Alter Rebbe, here's the point. Just like it's impossible for any creation to understand the gedula, the chesed of the Eibishter, which is the achelos to create yesh me'ayin lachis and to give it life. And he brings a raya, oilam chesed yibana, the world is created to meet this chesed. And you'll see Mitzvah and Perek Vav again the allusion to oilam chesed yibana. And there it gets more complicated. The Alter Rebbe wants you to know, kach mamish, it's exactly the same thing. It's impossible for any creation lahasik to intellectually reach midas gvura seshal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the measure of the Eibishter's gevura. She midas hat tzimtzum, it's the measure of tzimtzum. Umeniyas ha-hispashtus ha-chayes, and the prevention of the expansion of the Eibishter's life migidulase, from his midas ha-chayes, from his greatness, milated from to descend ule his galis, and to be revealed al nevroim on the creations lachiyesam, to give them life, or lakaimam, to give them existence, begil in a revealed way. Kiyim beheste pon, with the concealment of the Eibishter's face. I mean to say, the Eibishter uses an infinite power, not just to create the world, an infinite power to hide himself from the world. That shachayis, the Eibishter that gives us life, but mistate beguf hanivra hides itself, is concealed in the body of the creation. As though gufa niva, the body of that creation, appears to be something unto itself, as opposed to ve'ena hispashas, not seeming to be an expression of achayas v'aruchni, the life and the spirituality. Hispashas as the expression of aziva ermei hashemish, the rays of the sun and the light of the sun from the sun, that you see that it comes from the sun. Ella, it is only it looks like it's something separate. All the truth is, the fact is, Hashem is creating it every single second. And because Hashem is creating it every single second, what is it really? It's not itself, it's the Chayas Eliki. Ella Kmei Hispashas Ermei Hashemish, it's nothing other than the rays, the expression of the light of the sun from the sun. And he means to say expressions of the light of the sun from the sun while it's still in the sun. Here's the key words. This is Hashem's strength. Just like creation is Hashem's greatness, concealment is Hashem's power. It's like HaKadosh Baruch Hu of the Eibishter. Hashekel Yochel. Hashem can do the impossible. Letzamtzem, to contract. Hachayas, the life. V'aruchnis, in the spirituality. Anishpa, which flows. Miruach peh, from the wind of his mouth. Ulahastire, to block it. That the guf shouldn't see the truth of its own existence. Shleivatal guf haniva b'metzias, that the body of the creation should not lose its form. And this power of hiding, this power of concealing, this power of tzimtzum, it's not within the mind of any creation to intellectually reach. The essence of this contraction and concealment. And at the same time, it should be nevertheless guf hanivra, the body of that creation, nivra me'ayin liyesh, created from a non-existential state into an existential state. That just like it's impossible for the intelligence of any creation, cannot stand the chesed, the yesh me'ayin. It's equally as impossible to understand the gevura, the tzimtzum. So the vart is that just like creation is an infinite thing that only the Eibishter could do, and he does it every single second, his concealment, in spite of the fact that he's constantly making us, is also an infinite power. And tomorrow we have a bracket. This bracket that Rebbe explains in a Sikha, which I'm still struggling with, that the Rebbe wants to add in the rest of Perek Daled and in Perek Hey, that the concealment is an infinite power of the Eibishter, but it's also a contributor to the creation itself. It's not just allowing Chesed to create the world, it's a partner in the event of creation itself, and we'll talk about it with Hashem tomorrow.